guys, and welcome. This is Coach B, and this is a series that I have called Thriving in a Difficult Marriage. Thriving in a difficult relationship is strictly for married people who have difficult spouses. And I mean, the definition of difficult spouse differs from home to home, but it is a real thing, and many people have permitted the choice of a spouse to determine the extent of the fulfillment of their destinies and purposes. And this series is aimed at helping you rediscover yourself, rediscover your spark, and finding your foot again. And despite whatever it is that you may be going through in marriage, being able to make the best of your life, not in a limping kind of way where you're just getting by, but being able to find the strength of character to get up and to be that person that God wants you to be that person that fulfills purpose, fulfills destiny, and creates joy and creates opportunities for others to look at yourself sometimes down the road and to say, actually, nothing stopped me. I was able to overcome obstacles. I was able to get up and to achieve everything that I set out to achieve. Why is this topic so important? It is important because when you get married, you are making yourself vulnerable. You have made yourself vulnerable. You have opened up your heart to someone else, and you have sort of given them the key to be able to determine the level of success, the level of influence, affluence, happiness that you choose to have in life. So if that is the case, when someone finds the right person in every sense of the word to give this key to and to collect their own key in return, then it would be a great match. Everybody is happy, you're fulfilled, is fulfilled, the home is working, everything is great. But because human beings are mostly flawed, people have dysfunctions, people have baggages and issues that they're bringing from their past relationships, from their upbringing, their parentage, different things that have happened to each person are shaped who they have become. And when they were coming into the marriage, they didn't just bring the great part of them, the good part of them, which is probably what they showed the other party in courtship. They come into marriage with the good and the bad. And that in itself is not necessarily a deal breaker if parties to the marriage agree to allow God to work on them. So the wife is yielding to God, allowing God to do a great work in her, to balance her excesses, to temper down the things that are undesirable in her. And the husband at the same time is also allowing God, yielding to God and letting God, do a great work that makes him a better person. Then the two of them can meet halfway and nobody is holding back on the other person's source of happiness. Someone is not trying to control the other person or make life difficult for them. Someone is not trying to suppress the other person and make them feel irrelevant or inconsequential. So if that is the case, where both parties are yielded to God and allowing God to help them, then the marriage will be great. Everybody is fulfilling purpose, fulfilling destiny, and supporting each other. But in many cases, people come with those issues from the past, and they use it to judge the present and to determine the future. So someone, for instance, who had tempestuous, is a very, you know, an upbringing that wasn't so great. Maybe had parents who fought all the time, had maybe a father who wanted to suppress the mother, and a mother who fought back, who every time wanted to fight the husband because she wanted to fight for her right. If someone is from that kind of background, they may want to repeat it in their marriage. So take for instance a lady with that kind of background. She is going to be suspicious of her husband. Everything he does, every action he takes, she's reading meanings into it and trying to see if he is trying to oppress or suppress her. And if it's a man too, he's looking at his wife and wondering when she's going to fight with him, and forget the fact that maybe the other person actually had a relationship, had parenting that was actually okay. Like her parents didn't fight or his parents didn't fight. They got along very well, maybe just one or two issues here and there. So it's different things. And the best time, of course, to talk about this thing, everyone will tell you, is before marriage, premarital counseling. But this series is not for people who haven't gotten married. I mean, you could learn a thing or two, but it is mostly for people who are already married, who have regrets, but are too afraid to voice it out or to take actions about it. It is for people who feel that because they got married, they lost the essence of who they were meant to be, and who would love to retrace their footsteps and see how they can make their marriage work while at the same time fulfilling purpose. So many times, let's say for instance you get married, and because of the demands of married life, maybe little children, the children have started coming along, they're still young. Sometimes a woman has to quit her job. Sometimes she has to reduce the commitments that she has to life, the things that she did for herself to make her happy. She feels compelled. And sometimes actually the body demands that she reduces her commitment. But oftentimes when she reduces those commitments and starts to focus on the children, to focus on having a great family, there is a sense of lack of fulfillment that may accompany this action, this decision in some women. I mean, for some women, maybe quite a number of women, a few women, you may actually be fine with staying at home and taking care of the home front, and maybe you're not so ambitious. But even for you, there are one or two things that you want to do, if not necessarily because you want to raise money, but because you want to make an impact. So you could have a mother, a full-time housewife, who maybe wants to write a book, or who wants to help the less privileged, or who wants to teach people what she knows. So there is still something or the other that you really wanted to do, either before you got married or even as you're married. And sometimes when you zone out of those things in order to face the home front, you may miss the things that you desired to do. You may miss what looks like you not working in fulfillment of purpose. And even though marriage, I mean, you are married already, so part of fulfillment of your purpose is making your marriage work, but it takes two. So as far as you can, as far as it is in your own power, the Bible says you should be at peace with all men. So I want to believe that it is the same thing with marriage, that as long as you look at yourself and you're like, when it comes to me personally, I'm doing everything I can to make this marriage work. But because it takes two people, if my spouse is not meeting me halfway, it doesn't mean that I have to do his own part for him. So that is also one of the frustrating things that women encounter, where you're putting in everything, but because the other party isn't putting in as much or much, then it still doesn't seem to be working as well as it should. So back to the point of fulfillment of purpose, despite putting all that you have into the marriage. The thing is, if you, because of your children and your husband, refuse or don't make out time to fulfill your purpose, you're going to feel frustrated at the end of the day. Because when you look at them, initially you may be serving out of love, out of gratitude and all of that, but there is a part of you that is as important as this other part that you are serving that is not being fulfilled. There is an essence of you that, it's like you having a garden and you love every part of your garden, or you being a garden and you love every part of you, but you are watering a specific portion of your garden more than you are watering the other part. The part that you are not watering is going to wilt. The flowers will wilt. The ground, the soil will look unnurtured, and it's not going to look good. And then the whole garden will not look good if there's a portion of it that is looking good and the other part is not looking good. So it is your duty to be able to nurture every part of you. It's like maybe you are eating, but I'm trying to look for a great example. Let's say if I want to feed myself, there's a place that I have to eat to feed this hand, and there's a way I have to eat to feed this hand, and I keep feeding this hand but I don't feed this one. If I don't do that, then this hand is not going to be as strong as this one. And if I have to lift something off the ground and I need the two hands, it's going to be difficult because one is stronger than the other. So it makes me ultimately not as strong as I ought to be generally. And so you need to make it work. You need to find a way to ensure that even though you are in a season where you are primarily focused on nurturing your home, there must be a part of the day, a part of the week, a part of the month that you set aside to catering for your own self-fulfillment. I say this a lot. You know that story of being on an airplane, and the air hostess is saying, oh, these are the safety procedures and safety measures in case there's turbulence. Oxygen bags are going to drop from above. Make sure you take your own, you use it, and then you help the child if there is a child with you, or help the other person. If you are not in a great place, what you are offering to your family is not going to be a great thing. So it's not selfishness to take care of yourself. It's not selfishness to see to your fulfillment so that you can see to the fulfillment of your family. When you are doing your hierarchy of needs of who comes first in your life, you should put yourself closer to the front. For most women, they put God, then they put their husbands, they put their children, they put their church, they put their work. Sometimes they put their parents, they put their siblings, they put their friends before they put themselves somewhere under there. And I'm saying that's not supposed to be. If your number one is God, then your number two should definitely be you, because it is when you are in a great shape, it is when you are both mentally, physically okay, when you are emotionally okay, when you are fulfilled, that you are able to offer the best of you to someone else, to your dependents, to your spouse, to your church, to your family, to your work. There's a you that you must be to give them the best. If someone wants to give of themselves, for instance, someone wants to volunteer or to volunteer in your company, one of the first questions you're going to ask them is, what strengths do you have? And if they cannot mention the strengths, then what are you volunteering? Time alone is not the main thing that a person should volunteer. So your presence in the home, being at home all day, is not sufficient offering in terms of what you bring to the table. If you are at home, for instance, some women, you're at home all day, you're supposed to be a full-time housewife. The children are at home with you, but they're watching TV, and you are watching, you're playing games, or you're on Instagram, or you're watching movies, and you say you're parenting actively. You're deceiving yourself. But if you keep improving on yourself, you have a schedule that you use for your work, you're teaching them how to also schedule themselves, you're teaching them life skills, you are helping them to develop character. That's the children. Then we can say that, oh, mommy is actively parenting, she's a full-time mom. And then the children, you're actually offering them something. You're building structures within which your spouse can come back to and actually feel like this is home. Then you are actually bringing something to the table. And I'm saying, before you can do that, there is a level of self-respect, self-esteem that you must have that makes you invest in yourself, that makes you not give up on your dreams. Otherwise, you are going to be resentful towards your spouse, you're going to be resentful towards your children. And once you are resentful, you are not able to offer them the best. And sometimes, everyone has some selfish bone in their body. So sometimes your spouse may prefer that you actually stay at home. But while you're staying at home, what are the things that you can do to add to yourself? Can you take courses online that are along the lines of what you've majored in or what you want to major in? Because you're not going to stay at home forever. What if there are courses that you can take? What if the skills that you can learn, so that when you are ready to get back into the grind of whatever it is you want to do, it's easier for you? What if you keep in focus that thing that you feel like you're purposed for, and you tell yourself, I'm just taking so number of years off of this thing to focus primarily on the home, but at so time I'm coming back, and to ease my coming back, I'm going to make sure that I keep doing ABC every week. That way it doesn't look like you've given up on life, you're useless to yourself, like you're just serving everybody but nobody's serving you. Those other emotions that come with that feeling: depression, frustration, feeling of not being enough. You start to withdraw into yourself, and you start to spend more time alone at home. You're not going out, you're not networking, you're not making friends, you're not getting involved in things that can progress a person. And sometimes because there's no middle point, there's no I'm just standing still. It's either you're moving forward or you're retrogressing. And if a person is not moving forward and they feel they're standing still, because the world is still moving forward, they are going to find themselves actually behind. So sometimes the husband is moving forward, the children are moving forward, but this woman who feels like her life has to stand still so that she can take care of all these people that are moving forward, eventually finds out that she can't even measure up to them again. The husband is trying to have conversations about work, but you have no frame of reference because you have been out of work for so long. There's no group of people, there's no co-work space that you go to from time to time. There's no association of maybe forward-looking people that you engage with so that you keep yourself sharp and fresh. you know, we have to do better. We have to do better, because some of the things that we blame our spouses for are not necessarily their fault. Yeah. So when you're blaming that difficult spouse for insisting you take a decision that is life altering, you should also blame yourself for accepting 100% that you are powerless to do the things that you desire to do. Yes, there will be seasons when you have to stop or put plans on hold, but the moment things start to ease out, maybe the children are starting school, or they're starting lessons, or now they spend longer hours napping or studying, you should pick up the things that interest you again, and you should go ahead and attempt to fulfill destiny. So I think that today's episode is mostly for women who are full-time moms of very young children. We are saying that never ever completely put your life on hold because of the home front. If you check, there is always one or two things that you can do alongside full-time parenting to the fulfillment of your personal purpose and goal. So as you're building the home, you are building yourself. And that is all for today. I will see you on the next episode of Thriving in Difficult Relationship. This is Coach B, and I'm out for now. Bye.